Oh!
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Let me do him. Let's go! Let's go, Billy! He's just tackled nothing.
Oh my god. Oh, this has gone in.
This could be the moment Billy crowns himself as a champ. Oh. Billy! Bang! Dedication.
Oh my god. 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 Oh my god.
It's 2 in the game!
They're still playing.
They're still playing the video game. Give him a thumbs up. Look, just give him a thumbs up. Right, I can guarantee you're all going to be like, how do they do the little skill shots? You got to have the flare trait, 5-star skill helps, and you make sure you have L1 and L2 held when you shoot. And that's pretty much it. You want to just start the rainbow flick, hold L2, L1, and click circle. Or if the ball's on the ground, you can do a skill shot with the same button mapping. You're welcome, gamers. And if you enjoyed this video, I want to see you thumbing it up. Thumbs up on the video. Thanks. A like. Hello gamers, welcome back to the channel. I can guarantee this video is going to help a lot of you if you're struggling on pro clubs. We're 35-0-0, so we're not experts yet, but this is the first club we made, so it's going alright. If you enjoyed this video, there's plenty more builds and tips and just content based around FIFA 21 Pro Clubs to come. So hit that red button and subscribe. Now the first thing I want to talk to you about is the filters in the search settings. I know it's about as basic as it comes, but please don't know what I just said. Here's 10 seconds explaining it. The filters are when you search for a game, you can select whether you want to match a team that also has an any or doesn't have an any. If you want to match a team that has the same amount of players in the same bracket as you, or you don't really care about that, and the same thing if you have a goalkeeper or not. It's important what we play with is to match the any so that we play with an any and they play with an any. We play with the goalkeeper on, I think we don't really matter, like it doesn't matter. We'll take a goalkeeper or we don't bother. So we just have that one off because we usually don't play with one. And then for minimal players, you just want to probably have that, definitely on. Because otherwise, as you get up the divisions, you might come across like an 11-man pro club team and there's 3 of you, and then you're in a lot of trouble. Formation is, of course, super important. We tend to go with a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow or a 5-2-1-2. The 5-2-1-2 is better for being more defensively solid. I know that sounds pretty obvious. If you want to know more information about what formation we use and why, click the video that's popping up in the top right-hand corner now. It's a full video on custom tactics and the best formation for pro clubs. We tend to play with a striker, an any who plays in striker next to me, a cam and a CDM or a centre mid. So there's always 4 of us. We never really play with more than that because then you do tend to fall into that bracket of potentially matching up against like 8 players if you have 5 of you, and that can just be really unfair. Like I said earlier with the filters, unfortunately it doesn't match like for like. 2 players can match against 4 maximum in a game if you have the filter on. I think 4 players can match against 7 maximum, and then if you get into the 5 territory, I think you can go 8. And, you know, I'm sure you can fill in the rest. It's annoying it's not an equal or whatever, but I guess they have to have some sway in it. We found this setup to work best. The priority order for us is to have a guy playing any and his guy in striker, me in striker, and a cam. The centre mid, the CDM, is going to help us with a record club attempt 100%, but it's not something that we, have to play with. Now you're going to be asking again, what are the best builds and everything? Those are popping up in the top right hand corner now. They're also linked in the description. We're going to have a centre mid to join it very soon, but you still want to be playing small this FIFA, 5-6 and down, under that £120 mark, and traits, well, let's get into the trait. The trait that's absolutely essential is a 5-star weak foot if you're playing in attack. Like, it's just 100% necessary. If you're going to be in front of goal, you want to know that you can shoot on both sides. You have the option to do that in tight games. I like the flare trait a lot. I think it actually is underrated and it opens up a lot of passing lanes that would not be available if you don't have it selected. So that flare trait, holding L2, you can do these sort of backheel passes like you're seeing on screen right now, that otherwise I don't think he makes that pass. Also, it's just a lot of fun. I want to stop this video to talk to you about the leaderboards, because I know for a fact there are people out here watching this video who think that the people on the leaderboards are the greatest to ever touch the sticks. It's not the case. The leaderboards are a very misleading ranking system, and they have been on clubs for a while. They're based around the player who's made the most appearances, not necessarily the player with the best match rating, or the player with the most goals to games ratio in striker, or the most clean sheets in defence for 100 games plus or whatever. They're based solely around appearances. So the very best pro clubs players, the shells of this world, they're not anywhere near the leaderboards. You know, I'm seeing guys on the leaderboards with like 1,500 games played. That's more than I had on the last 2 FIFAs combined, and the game's been out for a week. I don't understand. People account share in there sometimes. People just search games and then back out so that they can get themselves higher up on the appearances. I really don't want you guys to think that that's a credible way to look at good players. Something important to note on this FIFA is the heading and the crosses have changed quite a bit. So heading is now manual. So if the ball comes into you, you literally have to aim exactly where you want the ball to go and it will go there. I think it's a good addition. I think it's going to provide some funny moments. It's going to provide some angry moments, but it's something that adds a little bit of a skill gap to the game if you can actually aim your headers properly when you're in front of goal. Crossing wise, you can now manually cross as well, and I'm a big fan of the R1 double square. Have a look at this absolute whip. You've got to time it right with the double square, but if you can practice it enough, you can get balls to be absolutely perfect and right on your striker's foot, which in other FIFAs, I don't think that actually happens. Maybe an R1 triangle from similar positions used to be effective. Not quite this tight out. A big tip that I see a lot of people make a mistake with on pro clubs as well is the sprinting. When we come up against people in divisions, people sprinting their any out of position, so you'll drag the centre back up to try and tackle me, play it into Billy, and then there's a huge gap and I just like use my sprint speed at 5'4" to just get past him and I'm in on goal. Also, when you're controlling your pro especially, try not to sprint around like a madman. I think it costs around 12 points, maybe 9 to get the second win trait, which in the past I've said is really good, and I don't know this FIFA whether I'm going to use it or not yet because I haven't played quite enough games. But if you can manage your stamina well, you really will thank yourself for it. You don't want to be like running on empty 60 minutes in. If you can be running on empty like 85 minutes in, you're going to be in a lot of a better position. Try not to sprint around. You really don't need to. It's not necessary. A lot of you guys watching this might be thinking, oh, I play with pro clubs with a few people who aren't that good, or I'm always playing drop-ins and I can't really improve. Well, there's a link in the description to our Discord server. We have an Xbox and a PS4 channel. Each one in there, you can search for teams to play with and improve and play pro clubs with. There's people looking in there all the time. So join that Discord. It's all totally free. And it's basically like a mini community where you can find players to play with. That's what we're trying to build there. Another big tip that I've said to you guys on stream in the past, if you see a player who is just better than you at the game, try to watch what he does. I mean, a lot of you will tune into our streams and watch for hours and give us really positive feedback on, you know, what we're telling you to improve wise and how you're picking up on things that we do. But if somebody beats you in a divisions game and every single goal they score is a big triangle down the line and then an R1 double square cross into the box, well, you need to be making sure that your enemy is covering that ball better down the line. Maybe get yourself a centre mid to track that striker who's running down there next time you come up against somebody who does that. And then the Ennie should be looking at selecting, you know, the player in the box to mark the guy who's trying to shoot rather than the crosser, if that makes sense, and not pulling out. There's things you can always do to improve on games, and if you really are passionate about improving, hitting that next level on pro clubs, that will help you out a lot. This video is just going to be one of many over the next few months of me just putting out crucial tips for you guys to improve at pro clubs. This was a bit of a beginner's one. I know some of you will be sitting here going, I knew all of this, but some of you won't. And we'll get into more complex gameplay breakdowns of how to improve on pro clubs over the next few weeks on the channel. So to be sure that you don't miss any of that, make sure you subscribe, hit that red button and ring the notification bell. We're going to be live most nights this week playing pro clubs again. 35-0-0. We're going to try and get 50-0-0 in our first club together. We didn't even really plan this to go as well as it has. We've just been finding this game really enjoyable gameplay wise, and I know there's bugs out there. I know about the drop-in glitch where you can't find a game. I know about the skill points not counting. I know about custom tactics messing up and sometimes changing around the pros so that you're controlling your friend and he's controlling you, and then neither of you get any experience for the game. The game's a shambles, but we're trying to make sure. But from a gameplay point of view, it's actually fairly enjoyable to play an attack on this game for once. I mean, I can't say that has been the case for a few years on FIFA. Thank you for your continued support. Please do drop a thumbs up on this video on your way out, and I hope these tips have helped you guys. Send this out to your friends, because I guarantee you've got somebody in your club playing 6'3", 400-pound build, and he's looking at the leaderboards on pro clubs not realising that they haven't been outside. since accomplishments were in the game. I mean, would a sponsored athlete lie to you? I'm a gaming athlete. I'm an athlete. I'm sponsored.